Saw you at the stationery. Left quite a shitstorm. Now you brought it back. They're all gonna come after you.
Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life, and through Kelly, we hope to inspire. I have Simmons on the show today, and we're going to talk about his project, Iridescence, and we're going to talk about how you got into filmmaking, and then we're just going to talk about the Atlanta film community.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So let's first talk about Iridescence. How did you get in? Because you originally started, you were an actor, right?
Yeah. And before that, I was a background actor, and I'd always tried to do acting. I did a little theater in high school, so it always kind of snuck up on me, and the acting bug really hit hard with Vampire Diaries when they upgraded me to a feature extra, which that was a big deal, then, and it should still be treated as a big deal.
Yeah, I think so.
And that actually impressed my wife, Stephanie, so I just kept running with it, and times were kind of hard, so that was the work that I could get. I couldn't get a job at Papa John's, delivering pizzas, but I could get a job as an extra.
Okay.
On like Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
And
that at that point in time, because I remember that very well, and I actually did some Vampire Diaries too, because that was really the first thing that kind of hit here.
Yeah.
And that's where you met people.
Yeah.
That you wanted to do projects with and things like that. People would go on set to be an extra just to meet people because they needed, if you were like a local filmmaker or whatever, people that were there, they were interested in being actors. So that really was an exciting time for Atlanta, though it seems so, so ridiculous now. And I'm sure to LA actors it probably sounds so ridiculous, but
you've got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
And a lot of indie filmmakers that I knew then, or people that had a camera, they had a DSLR, they wanted to convey a story, they started taking notice of that. And I still remember them because they gave me a chance to kind of play characters, and that gave me practice. And sometimes that's the best acting class, is just jump right into it, do your research, and one thing just led to another, and I got a lot of activity, in the indie film community. Then agencies took notice eventually, and I've been through probably 5 or 6 agencies since then. So I think that was 50 years ago. But
feels like it, right?
Yeah, and I have an agency now in North Carolina, Maltsby Talent. But I'm so busy with Iridescence, it's really hard to squeeze in those taped auditions.
Right, yeah. Well, and you get yourself too thin. So let's talk about Iridescence and what's it about? What inspired? And you were talking about that you're producing, you're writing, it's basically, it's one of those things that if it's going to get done, you're going to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, pretty much.
And I think that every filmmaker in the beginning is there because you don't have a lot of resources to pull from in the beginning. So you pull from what you have. So let's talk about the story and what inspired it.
Sure. Well, what inspired it is, and I have a history of seizures, but on December 16th, 2016, I will never forget that. Because on that day, I had a seizure in front of my job. I was a video editor for this company in Sandy Springs, and I woke up, and it was kind of like a near-death experience thing, not to sound too new agey here, but it was, I kind of saw some stuff, and it was just an eye-opener on so many different levels on a wide spectrum.
You had a seizure.
Yeah. That kind of, I don't know, that turned me around mentally and spiritually and emotionally and whatever you can think of. And
was that your first time having a seizure?
No.
Okay.
I had had them before, so this one was it pretty much catalyzed me in so many different ways. Because I had had a lot of failures in different areas. I was in slumps, life is full of peaks and valleys. So, and I was in a lot of valleys, so to speak. And I had a 44-page script. Basically, the story is centered around a cat and mouse game about a character who he ruins everything around him due to a cat and mouse game between himself and this woman that he's obsessed with, who has pink hair. Yes, and So the heart of it, it is a heart. It's a beating heart. So this is a romance
Okay.
inside the body of a multi-layered body of science fiction, elements of that, drama, violence, action. So I just keep layering and layering.
How fun.
Yeah, and
The great thing about when it's your creation, it's your creation.
it truly is.
And you can do whatever you want to with it and have fun with it.
It gives you a lot of liberties too, because as an independent filmmaker, especially on hardly any budget where you're having to maximize every tiny little resource that you have, you can change the story up a little bit, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of actors don't like that, or people behind the camera, but you have to think outside of the box, and you have to have a sense of adaptability, and it's allowed me to do that, to taking full control of my story. Others have wanted to come on and write, but they didn't. Or like, well, you got to keep it this way, or it's got to be marketable. Well, how about we give people what they haven't seen before?
Right.
How about we do that?
Well, and that really is when it's your creation, and you, I see this over and over and over, people losing their projects because they let too many people. It's like not having enough faith that you can do it, so you let too many people into it, and before you know, they've run away with your project, and you're left going, what happened?
I know.
And that happens in the, in the independent world, it happens a lot because you need help.
Yeah.
And you need people to come on board, and I think sometimes those people don't even really mean to do that. It's just they get so excited too, and they start seeing a vision on your vision, and before you know it, you've and so that's a skill that if you're going to get into filmmaking, especially directing, that you have to master, and that's protecting your
baby.
stuff.
Yeah.
Protecting your baby, and that's what it is. So I have. How do people find you?
On Thea. So you can add Thea as a channel on Roku. We just finished filming what I'm calling Phase 4, which is going to be a series of episodes. We're going to have a channel titled Iridescence, and but we are on Thea.network. So that's THEA.network. And you can, again, add it on Roku, just anywhere. I mean, even on your phone, you can add it as a channel.
Okay.
And there's other material.
Isn't technology amazing?
I love it, and I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that we live in the best time of all history because of the technologies that we have and the things that we can do. I mean, when I was a teenager, I'm horrible with directions, and I could not find my way around anywhere. And now I can go everywhere because we have a GPS. It's crazy.
I use my GPS on the way
Yeah,
here.
I can't do anything without it.
That's great.
So this is what I got you. You didn't want candy, so I'm not really sure what exactly, but I know that it is has a honey mustard flavor to it. So I tasted them for you before I gave them to you. Make sure they weren't poisonous, or that they had a good flavor to them, and they passed my taste buds standards. So they're for you.
It looks like trail mix.
Yeah, it's some type of trail mix.
This is fantastic. We just need M&Ms. You know what trail mix is.
You said you didn't want to do candy.
I know. I'm just kidding. But M&Ms and trail mix, they're just obstacles.
To
Really.
get around.
Yeah. So
So if you have any advice to give to an artist.
yeah. Don't let anything stop you from creating your vision. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. Go with your gut, your instinct, your imagination. As an actor, your instinct and imagination, those are your best friends. And even as a filmmaker, I mean, this morning I had a flat tire,
Wow.
but I still came
You're
here.
still here. Well,
So-
and to go back to the seizure, you didn't stop.
No, I took that disadvantage, and that's what you have to do. You take your disadvantages and you turn them into an advantage. And you'll be surprised, you'll be amazed at where they take you. I mean, I had to rewrite this phase right in the middle of production. I had to rewrite the other half of the script just to adapt to unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
And that was taxing
Yeah.
a little bit, but it worked out for the better.
Right.
You know, and I think it's very wise of us all, especially with Atlanta getting so much attention, you know, Hollywood style and all that. We maintain our humility, you know, as filmmakers and as actors. You know, we're not going to get paid for everything, and it's a humiliating experience sometimes for an independent filmmaker to ask anyone to do anything for free.
Right.
So we're all kind of on the same page. We need to stay there. You know, you can be selective, but when you sign on to a project, you should
do it.
You should do it.
You should do it. Yeah.
Don't go a quarter of the way there and then say, oh, well, it's not paid. Well, I'm not asking you to jump off the building either.
Right. But let your word be your word.
Yeah.
And if we start building trust amongst us, then, you know, I'm a true believer that within relationships there are trust and bonds,
Yeah.
and within those trust and bonds are where the currency lies.
Yeah.
It's really between people, and we start chasing this dollar bill that is an illusion when it really lies between people and building that together, or either connecting onto it and you pulling it back. So
we're not forgetting where we came from in the beginning. Why
Right.
did we start doing this? It wasn't for the money. Yeah, that's great. You
yeah,
know,
or we wouldn't all be doing it.
I'd love to pay the bills, you know, but
yeah.
otherwise.
All right, the director is calling quits on us. So, Aaron, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much.
so much.
Can
for
I
being-
can I drop some names? I'm
Yes,
sorry
please,
to interrupt.
go.
Alvin Eric, because we talked about him,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Charlton Hoag, who is in this. Heather Rule, who swooped in and saved the day. Peyton Evans, very talented child actress. Carrie Ann Culbertson.
Okay.
Melissa Simpson. There are so many. Chris, Dan Hunter, who has been here from the beginning. Stacia Rayon. I just want to thank everyone. I wish I could fit all of your names
and you're gonna
in here.
when you get home you'll be like, oh, there was one vital
I
person.
know, but there's credits.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we hope this segment inspired and educated you.